If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. So as I told you the other day, we are at my dad's house doing some warm weather repairs. We were in Missouri and we had a pretty significant problem with the underneath side of the cab over. Condensation from my water bottles had dripped down into it and it froze there. Well, one warm day, the water had thawed out and it rotted a hole into the bottom of the cab over. I had to do a kind of an emergency repair, so I found this plastic sheet. It was like $30, $25 or $30. And I thought, man, that stuff's pretty cool. And so when I actually started to load it into the truck, and I had to bend it to get it through this narrow door because it was a 4x8 sheet, so I had to bend it to get it in. It cracked. This is the finished result of the repair. So that's just a piece of plastic. The rest of the camper is made out of what is called Luan. It's an 1/8 inch Luan. What it is, it's kind of like a laminated wood material. So we bought some Ultra Roof 100 roofing paint, and this stuff is kind of like a rubberized silicone. It did a really good job. I was really impressed with how well it did. Sealed it up. We never had a leak all summer long and most of the winter. Well, what happened was we ran into a problem at the last week we were in Missouri. It got down to 2 degrees, and what had happened is we stapled the Luan right onto the 2x2s. So this is constructed by a 2x2 frame with a Luan sheet over it, so the outer skin. When it got down to 2 degrees, apparently what had happened was those staples expanded and contracted, and it released the paint from the staple. And everywhere there was a staple, created a little hole. And you can see, you might be able to see, it just created these little holes. Well, some of these little holes actually became big enough where, I guess, when it got cold, that 2 degree weather sucked moisture in. There was, a hot side on the inside and the warm side, or the cold side on the outside, sucked moisture in. And as soon as it did, it delaminated the paint. See? It delaminated the paint right from the Luan. Just pulled it right up. And so we had all these bubble spots all over the camper. My plan was to come back here and repaint it. Well, as we started peeling the paint, the loose paint off, it started delaminating the Luan also. It started pulling the Luan up. So some of it had gotten so wet that the Luan separated, because the Luan is laminated material. It really looked like what we were going to have to do is remove all the bad Luan spots. When I pulled the paint up, it actually created a small hole right about here. And so the Luan was really weak. So what I did was I delaminated a piece of plywood and I just patched this. Well, this is terrible looking. Well, I went ahead and tried to paint it again with the roof paint, but it rained, as you can see. It wasn't supposed to rain, but it rained that night and washed a lot of it off. Well, I was just frustrated. And I kept going back to, I wish we could find some sort of plastic material that wasn't so fragile like this stuff. My fear with this stuff right here is when we were in South Dakota, it hailed like at least once a week. And I was afraid that hail would bust a hole in it, and so then you have a $25 sheet of plastic with a big crack in it, and so you're really in no better shape than you were with the paint, because you'd be out there trying to seal up all the little cracks. Well, Carolyn got on the computer the other day when I was frustrated with the paint, and I told her, boy, I wish I could find some plastic material. She started Googling plastic materials, and what she found was called corrugated plastic. This stuff is fantastic. It's plastic, and it's corrugated. It's got like corrugated, corrugated cardboard. It's strong as anything, and you can fold it over it's just really cool, and it's tough. So that's what a full sheet looks like. So we got 8 sheets, which will cover the entire outside and the roof of the camper. So here's what we now have. This is just one side that is complete. This is one sheet right here. Now what we did was, when we did the roof, see, this folding action is really cool. When we did the roof, I extended the roof out, you know, I guess about 6 inches past the roof. And so when I put this sheet on, I was able to just fold it down so the water will run off. Now, on top of the roof, I had a seam right in the center, and I just took silicone and I covered that seam. And the other thing that this is going to be a huge advantage, this folding over, is like right here, we don't have a seam right here. So as the wind is blowing, it won't lift this sheet because this sheet is covering it. And so what I feel like I have now is plastic siding, just like on a house. And so this is going to cover that luan to keep it from getting wet. So last night we had a huge thunderstorm. Just coincidentally, we had a huge thunderstorm. And this thing worked perfectly. What these are called are metal capped nails. These are pretty handy because that gives a big bite, so the plastic doesn't pull through the nail. What I did was on every capped nail, I put a dab of silicone right on the inside, so when it went in, that silicone would squeeze out. You might be able to see some right here. It squeezed out, and it's going to make a nice little seal. Now, they use this material for yard signs. That's important. It had to be outdoor use. When I took the window out, I busted the top window here. And so what I had to do there was I got a piece of plexiglass. So today's project is I'm going to work on getting this side covered up. Thanks for watching. Click like if you liked the video, and happy travels.